I think most people see the value in having some kind of emergency water storage for just in case, but a lot of people don't have room to store it. Some people live in small apartments, mobile homes, small homes, no garage, or even a large home you may not have room. So I'm going to be talking about ways you can store emergency water containers and a lot of bottled water inside your house when you have limited space. I'll be using personal experience as an example. This is the Waterbrick. It's a food-grade BPA-free container, and we have 12 of these. It holds 3.5 gallons and is a lot easier to manage and carry and store than our 5-gallon containers. The shape of them make it easier to store in small spaces such as under the bed. They have removable handles, which is nice if you store them under your bed because they're easier to pull back out, or if you want to bug out or go camping. They have an interlocking feature which helps them stay in place when stacking them, allowing you to securely stack them in different ways. Just be sure to check for leaks for a couple of days. Well, I haven't seen any leaks, but it's a good idea to do that. You can also buy a spigot for them to dispense the water easier. Let me show you how we store 6 of our containers. Now, as you can see here, they fit securely in our hall closet. That's because of the shape and because they're stackable. This totals 21 gallons. That's 10 days of water for my wife and me at 1 gallon per person per day in this small space. Although there is some extra space on the side here, I can only fit 2 of our 5-gallon containers, which totals only 10 gallons. That's half of what we store with our Waterbrick containers in the same spot. Now we also store 6 more in our bedroom closet. They stack nicely into the corner, they're out of the way, and I don't have to worry about one sliding off if I bump it because of the interlocking feature. You should follow the CDC's guideline on how to clean out your water container. There could be some debris in there. I've never seen any, but there could be. And how to sanitize it before using it. The CDC says to first wash the container with soap and water. Just be sure to rinse it out well. Then sanitize it by pouring 1 quart of water into the container and then 1 teaspoon of unscented liquid household chlorine bleach. Use bleach that contains 5 to 9% sodium hyperchlorite. Put the lid on and shake it well, making sure the solution touches all inside surfaces of that container. Wait 30 seconds, then pour out and air dry. Pour clean tap water into the container and cover it with the lid very tightly. See under the description for more information about this. Now, I think what the CDC means by clean tap water is water that's been treated. So if you have a water utility company that provides your water, then it's likely they use chlorine and treated it, and it's probably just fine to use and to store. But if you just want to take that extra step to be really sure, I know a lot of people do, you could just follow the CDC guidelines on how to treat contaminated water, even if it's not contaminated. And I have a link under the description that gives you that information. It's not the same as how you clean or sanitize the containers. It's the same bleach, but it's a different procedure. Now, bottled water is our main go-to emergency water storage. We would use all of that before even touching our 3.5 gallon containers. We rotate bottled water out over time. We've used bottled water on several occasions, emergency situations in Texas over the years. Now, we have family that might need help, so we like to have a lot of it on hand. Well, we used to live in a larger home, and we would store many cases of water. But since moving to the smaller house, we just don't have the room. We have 5 cases in our pantry, but I'd like to store a little bit more. So I tried storing a case of 16.9 ounce Ozarka bottled water under our bed. It didn't fit. That might be a good thing because there could be a bottle leaking and not know it until it's too late. But I found a solution. This is a Sterilite 60 quart under the bed wheeled storage box with a handle and lid. Now we can fit 48 bottles in there, a little over 6 gallons. That's 1 gallon per person per day for 3 days for my wife and me. And that's what FEMA suggests to have on hand as a minimum amount. Of course, we want a lot more than that. It's very easy to slide under the bed and slide out because of that handle and wheels. You can buy them at the time of this video at Target, Walmart, and Amazon. For more information, see the links under the description below. Now we have 4 of these containers under our bed and 2 more under the bed in the guest room. That's a total of 36 gallons of water, which at 1 gallon per person per day is 18 days worth of water for my wife and me, which isn't too bad. You can also store emergency food in the containers. The best long-term food storage, in my opinion, by the way, is canned food because you don't have to add water. Look how many cans you can store in the container. Check out the link above to see my video on the 11 most important foods to store long-term. You can also store emergency supplies such as flashlights, first aid kits, backup medical supplies, radios, and on in these containers. So if you live in a small apartment just by yourself or maybe with another person, maybe you could store water in 2 of the containers, emergency supplies in one, and in emergency food in the other. Now, another place you might consider storing bottled water is in your kitchen cabinets that you're not using or partially using. Now, we don't store bottled water in our cabinets because we really don't need to. We feel we have enough water storage as it is. But I wanted to give you some examples in case you have less storage than we do. One cabinet you might not be using, if you have a setup like ours, is the one above the stove. The vent runs right through it. We were able to put 32 bottles in there. That's 4 gallons of water. Now, although that doesn't sound like much water, if you don't have any other water, you'd be glad you stored it. Another cabinet you might not be using or partially using is above the refrigerator. We were able to put 63 bottles in only 25% of that space. If we used all of it, that would be 252 bottles. That's 33 gallons of water. Although I think most cabinets can handle a good deal of weight, you should make sure that your cabinet can handle the weight. A gallon of water weighs a little more than 8 pounds. Another area is just above the cabinets if you have a similar setup like ours. We calculated out that we could fit 168 bottles up there. That's 22 gallons of water. Just make sure they don't leak first by lying them down on their side on a table for a few days. Now, if you end up using all of your stored water, then as a last resort, you might have to use the water in your hot water tank and toilet tank. Now, not the toilet tank if it has chemical in it, and not the bowl. You just remove the water, filter the sediment, and boil it. Now, if you can't boil it, then follow the CDC guidelines that I talked about earlier, using the household unscented liquid chlorine bleach to make the water safe to drink. Now, if you end up not having any water, you're done with that water, then you're going to be resorting to maybe creeks, rivers, and lakes, or even the water off the roof of your home when it's raining. And in that situation, there could be chemicals or pesticides in the water and so on, so you want to be able to filter that out as well. So if I had to do this, I would still remove the sediment, boil the water, but I would also use our AquaTru reverse osmosis water filter to remove any chemicals that could be in the water. We have a Berkey stored away that I've had since 2012 or so, and we've used it over the years many times. But I like this AquaTru better, and we use it daily. I'll be doing a review on the AquaTru filter in the near future, so hit subscribe and notification if you'd like to see that. Among other things, I'll talk about how we could run this if the grid went down. Now, if you know ahead of time that a storm's heading your way that could freeze your pipes or some type of event that could stop the flow of water to your home, consider filling your bathtub up with water so you can flush your toilet. Just put a bucket near the tub. If you'd rather use that space for drinking water, I highly suggest using a water bob. We've used one in the past and it works really well. We keep one under our sink in the bathroom. It'll hold 100 gallons and you just fill it up and there you go. You've got a lot of drinking water. You can only use it one time though for one event. You're not supposed to store water in it. I wanted to give you some idea about how much water you might have to store for the number of people in your family. So if you add up all of the water that I've shown you, under the bed, the canisters, and the cases in our pantry, that's about 95 gallons of water, which is enough water for a month and a half for my wife and me, at 1 gallon per person per day. And for a family of 4, that would be 3 weeks, which isn't too bad. And you're not supposed to drink a gallon every day. That's not what that means. It means for drinking and for other things. Now, we have 8 5-gallon containers stored in the garage. We used to have 24, but after moving to this smaller house, we had to sell them. And I don't make any money for telling you this, from the manufacturers. But I'll tell you right now that these 5-gallon containers are high quality. I can't recommend them enough. See the link above and below for information on these. We've had them since 2016. So, but that's 40 gallons, 40 more gallons. So if you add all that up, now we have 135 gallons. That'll last my wife and me over 2 months. And if it was a family of 4, that would be 1 month. So that's not too bad. Well, I want to thank you for watching my video. I hope it's been helpful for those of you with limited space. And if you liked it, please like it and share, and don't forget to subscribe. Again, thanks for watching. Y'all have a great day.